Good morning, students. Since there was an overwhelming response of the video on India which I had sent earlier, and many students of the 7th standard requested me to do the same for Australia. So here I am with the landforms of Australia. So here we go. So let us start. Let us start from the eastern part of Australia. Now in the east, the most important landform over here is the Great Barrier Reef. Now this Great Barrier Reef is found in the northeastern part of Australia. The Great Barrier Reef consists of coral reefs which are extending further towards the Pacific Ocean over here. Now these reefs are said to be nearly 1 million years of age, though they are of great importance because they appear to be as if tropical forest but under the sea. Why? Because these corals, they provide a lot of biodiversity to the fishes over here. Just like we have tropical forests on the land which have got a lot of biodiversity, the coral reefs under the sea, they provide a huge amount of biodiversity. That is why they are known as the tropical forests but under the sea. Though they are a great tourist attraction, but they have got one disadvantage. This reef is a disadvantage because they are kind of a risk to the navigation, because ships, when they are coming from the Pacific Ocean towards Australia, they many a time strike against the corals which are spread over here, and they tend to destroy and break this. So this is one disadvantage of the great coral reefs, but nevertheless they are of a great value to the biodiversity and also to the tourism sector of Australia. Let us now move further towards the east. Here we have the Great Dividing Range. Now we all know that the Great Dividing Range extends from Cape York over here, moves towards the south, very close to the coast, almost running parallel to the eastern coast of Australia. And it extends from Cape York in the north to the Bass Strait in the south. Fine. Now these Great Dividing Range is a highland which is having an average of about 2,228 meters above the sea level. So not very high like that of the Himalayas or the Rockies or the Andes which you have learnt, but nevertheless they are pretty high, having a height of about, on an average, about 2,000 meters above the sea level. Now since it is a mountain range, you have to mark in the map with a brown color. So just take your brown color and let it go close to the coast, running parallel to the eastern coast right up to Bass Strait. Now because this Great Dividing Range is very close to the coast, so Australia has a very narrow coastal plain in the eastern part of the continent. Now let us move further. Now before we move further, I'll just write over here, this is known as the Great Dividing Range. Everything in Australia appears to be great. So here we go, here we write the Great Dividing Range. Please remember to write your labeling, do the labeling with black color. Now let us move further towards the west. Here we have the Nullarbor Plain. It's a huge treeless plain north of the Great Australian Bight, which is over here. Here we have the Nullarbor Plain. So it's a arid, semi-arid region which is comprising of a large area to the southern part of Australia. Just north of the Nullarbor Plain, we have the Great Victorian Desert. Fine. Now, before I talk about the Great Victorian Desert, please remember that this Nullarbor Plain has to be colored green, light green. Okay. Now, just north of the Nullarbor Plain, we have the Great Victorian Desert. Now, since it is a desert, so you are supposed to color it yellow. Fine. So please color this yellow. Now let us move further towards the northwest. Over here also we have a large desert, and the name of the desert is the Great Sandy Desert. It lies to the northwestern part of Australia. Okay, so I just now told you early in the beginning that everything appears in Australia to be great. The Great Barrier Reef, the Great Dividing Range, the Great Victorian Desert, the Great Sandy Desert. So everything is great. I think everything is great about the Australia, about the continent of Australia. Now lastly we come to the region which is the Great Western Plateau. Now this Western Plateau comprises of a large area of the western part of Australia, and it is a plateau which needs to be colored light brown. The deserts have to be colored light yellow, and this area needs to be colored light brown. Now this western plateau is also a dry area, and it has a height of about 300 to 600 meters. On an average, it is having a height of about 300 to 600 meters above the sea level. This entire area is pretty hot, has a very hostile climate, very dry, and that is why the population of this entire region is very sparse. However, very rare minerals are found in these regions. So some people who are working in the mines over here, they are scattered in these regions where there is availability of minerals. So students, I now request you to pause the video over here and copy the map exactly as I have drawn the features starting from the Great Barrier Reef to the end. Fine. If you have got any difficulty in the color coding, you can look up in the pinned comment of the comment section where I will be mentioning all the color coding. Thank you, students. I hope I have made myself clear. If you have enjoyed the video, then give me a thumbs up. And if you have found any shortcomings, please let me know in the comment section. Until then, stay tuned for new upcoming videos.